out there, everyone? Marty Schwartz here again, hanging out. We're going to be talking about back to basics this episode or chapter in our back to basics. We're going to be talking about some double stops. And I have learned some of my, I have a little foundation of some of my favorite double stop tricks that I want to show you guys. Also, huge shout out to Gibson. I really appreciate them inviting me back for some more of these. So just thank you again to everyone over at Gibson. I'm playing actually my ES335 tonight at my YouTube channel, Marty Music. There's a video where I got to take a tour of the factory and actually watch this guitar getting made. And then the wonderful people at Gibson let me have it at the end of that video. You can check that out. But anyway, love this guitar, favorite of mine. And double stops. I'm gonna pick just G7 for right now. And also, once again, I'm open to your questions, suggestions, things you're curious about. This topic is double stop, so that's kind of the focus. However, I'm taking your questions, and we've got Gibson moderating, and then we've also got my buddy Brian, who's back helping. Brian, how are you?
Doing great.
Yeah. What do you watch? What feed are you checking out right now?
I got the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed.
All right. Okay.
Instagram feed, there's no pin comic because I couldn't get to the keyboard.
Ah, yes, that's an issue. That's all right. I'll fix that later. It's cool. Okay, so double stops. I'm gonna do a G7 chord because it's got some of my favorite little double stops in there. And also when you have a G7 chord, it's like the bluesier sound of things. So the first one I'm going to show you are these classic double stops that sound like this. So what's going on there is I am thinking of that classic G7 chord or just like a G major bar chord right there. And then all I'm doing is I'm just playing the G string and the high E string. You could use your fingers for it. I'm just tucking my pick under my index finger. Some players put it between their fingers like that and play it. But this one's really good. I mean, you can do it with a pick as well. But a lot of times you get that kind of spanky sound and that pinch with the thumb and index or thumb and middle finger. So all I'm doing is I'm just playing the G and high E string of that bar chord. Like that. But because I'm only playing two notes, I can change the way I'm fingering it with my left hand because I'm only playing two strings. So instead, you can think of your index finger barring across that third fret, but then with your middle finger on the fourth fret of that G string. So you've got across the third and then middle finger down on that fourth fret G. And when you pinch that G and high E, you get this. You can do them separately. High E first if you want. Pinch them like that. So if you were in a G7 type of progression, you're always going to have these little upper registers of that G major. And then across the fifth fret, there's a little A minor chord in the key, but we're just playing notes from it. So we're going to be across the fifth fret on the G and high E right there. Those are the only two shapes we're going to deal with right now. So check this out. The first one, and then the second one's even easier. So that's across the fifth fret, and we're in G7 right now. If I go up a whole step from there, the notes are coming from a B minor, which is in that key, but we're really just playing colors from the key. So then you can go back the other way. Now you also can do a little passing tone or passing chord in between the 5th and 7th. It only sounds good going up or back a half step from those chords. Watch. Now, a lot of times, just because of the fingering, I will do ring finger and pinky on that G and high E. Because I'm not worried about the B string anyway. I'm not playing it for this first little technique. Now, Joseph on Facebook, how are you? Thanks for watching. And he's got a question, wondering about a string gauge affecting the dynamics tone of the double stops. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I'm thinking that maybe some thicker strings would probably be a little better for double stop stuff, if you use a lot of double stops in your playing. I'm really a standard 10s kind of guy, and I have been for so long. I've messed with 11s and I've messed with 9s, and I'm just comfortable with 10s. I feel like it's a solid gauge for anything you do. So anyway, back to G7. Now you also have that first shape a whole step down. So I'm going to just do a little loop with a G7 and just kind of take it slow and easy over those little concepts right there. So what I just did there was I actually did that first double stop I showed you, but I just did a little hammer on that G string from the 3rd to the 4th, then hit that high E string, and then went into blues licks. Now in a bluesy setting, you have what's called the 4 chord. So close to my amp right now. Scoot over a little bit. Keep knocking it. Brian, everything good?
Good.
Good. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Okay. So when you go to a C7 chord, which is right there, on the 8th fret, you now have that same thing starting where the C would be. For the C7 chord. And then in a blues, you'd have a D7 chord. You'd have it right there. So there's little double stop runs, and it's almost like thinking of it like a scale, where if I see a chord, I know I can kind of superimpose kind of some of my favorite double stops around a chord shape. So I'm going to do G7, C7, and D7, and then I'm going to use the double stop technique over each of those 3 chord changes there. And we're going to start doing that right now. Here we go. 1, 2, G7. now here is C7. Now back to G7. And D7. Down to G or C7. And a turnaround. Here we go, double stops. C7. Licks, and then now the D. Ah, maybe you recognize that. So now I can visualize those double stops and throw them in between, like just some G minor blues scale, G minor pentatonic stuff, combine the double stops and throw them in there. All right, so now watch this. Let me think about it. D minor. It's related to G7. So if I did a groove over a D minor 7, those same double stops in G7 will work over D7. So let me just show you that little alternative right there. Same double stops for G7. Now, if I just thought of that G And then also the C major is part of that same key. So G and C together will work over E minor. It's from that key as well. So just watch an E minor real quick. All right, so the recap here, we were talking about double stops. Ooh, Eric on Instagram's curious about the model and year of this guitar. Well, I was there when it was made. I was actually in the factory when this ES335 was getting made. I watched it down the line, and it was delivered to me into my hands. And that was, with the pandemic, it's harder to keep track of how long, but it would have to be a 2019 ES335, I believe. Let's see. There's a way to tell. Okay, I think it's a 2019, but I'll double check on that. Okay, so there's another really cool double stop that I like a lot, and it fits right in the major pentatonic. So let's do a different key now. Let's do E major. Okay, yeah. So my official team with Gibson is saying that it was made in 2019, but they don't have model years anymore, just core product. This is my core product right here. But anyway, yeah, and thanks for being curious. And thank you for Gibson for the answer, for helping the guy out. But I got to tell you guys, it was one of the most thrilling experiences of my music life to go to, my favorite guitar brand's factory and build my favorite model and then have it be mine at the end. It's pretty special. Not something I ever thought would be ever happen in my life or couldn't have predicted that. But anyway, it was epic. Okay, so another double stop. We're gonna just go into this E major chord right here. So I'm the root's on the 7th fret A string. But there's that what I like to call the Hendrix major chord. It's where you bar that part of the chord, which is the 9th fret D, G, and B, and you just bar across that fret with your index finger, and then you play the chord's major third in the bass of the chord, and now it's called an inversion. But a lot of the Allman Brothers harmonies fit in that major pentatonic. So I want to show you that right now. We'll do it in the key of E. You definitely want to see the E major pentatonic and that E major Hendrix chord. Pafta on Instagram, and I'm going to look at you over there because I know where my Instagram camera is. Pafta, thank you for your question. And you're asking what looper pedal am I using? And I'm using my Marty music looper. Ding. Merchandising. Spaceballs the looper. That's what I'm using. Spaceballs the looper. And kind of true. Okay, so check this out. It's not all part of the E major pentatonic, but we're going to start on the root. So we're thinking of E major and middle finger on that E note, 7th fret A string. Behind it on the 6th fret D string, that's our double stop. It's a little piece of an E major chord. Then we're going to go up to 9th fret with our ring finger on the A string. And this is all archived. You can watch back. And if you liked this little section here, and I think it's a really juicy little thing to learn, you can go back to Gibson on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram and just replay, any of the sections. It's always going to be there. So check that out. So here it is. Then we move that up a whole step. So we should end up with the ring finger on the 11th fret A string and the 9th fret index finger on the D string. Then we go to that first shape we did for E, and I'm going to use my ring finger now on that 12th fret A string, middle finger on the 11th fret D. But it's the same shape as the first one. There's only 2 shapes. And then the first one again. Now I just picked them individually there, but you can play them as double stops. Now we want to look at that E major box, E major pentatonic. So 9th fret D and G, then up a whole step to 11, then G and B, 9. See? Now we have a new little thing, 11 on the G and 10 on the B, which is still just the same shape as that. So sometimes you're going to, depending on where it lays out on your hand, you're going to use your ring and middle finger. Sometimes you can use your middle finger and index finger. But so here's it from the beginning again. And then we slide that up a whole step. And so now we're on the 13G 12B. Then 14th fret G and B. So let's start from the beginning. Then finally at the end, we're just going to get our finger on the 12th fret of the B and high E and just go up to 15. Did you get it, Brian?
I got it.
You got it down? All right, everyone. Brian's going to come over and play it now.
Be my Dickie?
Yeah, Dickie Betts or okay. So watch. I'm just going to do a groove in E. I'm going to show you how that sounds over it. Are people acknowledging the Allman Brothers right now, or
Yeah, it sounds like ABB right here. Oh, someone else thought it sounded like you too.
you too? Well, the other thing is those harmonies are what the Allman Brothers play, but it's usually one guitar player going and the other one's going, and together, left and right, you get. But John Mayer uses it a ton. Right now, I'm demonstrating it, and it immediately sounds like Blue Sky by the Allman Brothers. But I mean, anytime, like right now we're thinking of it as E major, but it works as C sharp minor as well, the relative minor. And John Mayer does some stuff in that in C sharp minor. It has a cool sound, and it's not that hard to do, but I'm going to do E major again, or Peyton on Instagram. Been playing for 6 years, and I helped you out. You've never taken a lesson. Learned everything you knew from me. Thank you, Peyton, on Instagram. I was reading and playing. It's never good. Never good. Never good to read and play. Never read and play. Never read and play. I'll practice earlier this morning, and no, I'm not reading anything. I'm just playing, and it's like flowing out, and then I'm reading and playing. It's a bad idea. Anyway, though, Peyton on Instagram. Peyton, thank you for the compliment. I'm going to do this again, but not read. Brian, I'm going to give you. Yeah. You're my you're the reading police. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, so here are the double stops, real slow. Minor is C sharp minor. So I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to play a groove in C with the C sharp minor 7 groove and just do those same double stops. But now C sharp is the root though. That's really what changes, but all the notes in the scale are the same. So C sharp minor 7 chord. kind of thing. So anyway, that was the in a short amount of time, some of my favorite little double stop concepts. To get deeper, really what you're doing is you're taking a scale, you're taking a tone from the scale, but then adding another note from that scale that harmonizes with it. That's really what the double stop is. So there's a lot that you can dig into with the theory. Understanding a key, understanding the major scale is really good stuff. And that's how you get into starting to understand the modes and all that. So just want to thank you guys again. Thank you, Gibson, again, for the beautiful guitar and for inviting me back. I really appreciate it and enjoy hanging out with everyone out there. Thank you, Brian, again.
Yeah, Instagram. Half the Instagram audience were Brazilians.
A lot of Brazilians on Instagram.
Half the chat was Portuguese.
Wow.
All the way.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, they have a lot of requests. I think you might need to learn a song.
I was gonna say Sepultura.
That was one of them. I think you prefer Tim Maia.
Tim Maia is he Brazilian?
A lot of requests. Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Okay.
You would love it.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. Thank you, Brazil. I haven't been there. I would love to go to Brazil. Love you in Brazil. And oh yeah, also thank you to the team, Heather and Paige from Gibson, for helping with these. And they're working past their hours as well. So thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Actually, we're going to do another Back to Basics next Friday at the same time on Gibson TV on YouTube and Gibson Facebook and Gibson Instagram. So I hope to see you guys there. Feel free also after this is done to let us know in the comments other topics you'd like to see me cover or questions you have, because I'm going to be looking at your questions and stuff afterwards. So have a great rest of your weekend, you guys. And thank you again. We'll see you later. I'll play us out. Yeah.